Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another non-combat large ship, and this one is called the Prosperity Deep Space Explorer, which is this lovely thing right here. So like I said, this is a non-combat ship that comes with two small fighters that can be deployed from a hangar bay in case of an emergency. It also has two small drone bays along with a single land vehicle bay at the very bottom. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, there it is. This thing says it's 13,646 large blocks, but it's actually much more closer to 7,000, and it uses basically all the DLC pack items. It uses no mods, but it does have one script on here, which is the auto door and airlock script. We'll see that when we go on the inside. So we'll give this a thumbs up, which I already have. We'll move all the way around to the very front, have a very quick look around the outside, then we'll have a tour of the interior to see what it has to offer. So at the very front here, this is what we get. We can see our lovely glass bridge with all of our seats to control everything about the ship. On the top and the bottom, we got some clean white and black blocks, which make up the majority of this ship's looks. So as we move around the side here, we can see even more of that, and not too much else to talk about until we get over to this section right here. So at the top here, this is our vehicle bay for our small ship, and at the bottom is our drone bay. If I was to peek my head right inside here, this does come with a ship ready made. So over here we've got ourselves a rocket ship with two Gatling guns at the front. Then if we come to the opposite side, this one spawns at the very top, and this is a Gatling gun focused ship with just two reloadable rockets on the side. If it was to come drop down to the other hangar bay just below that, if you are noticing some lag spikes, that is because this blue section right here is made out of LCD screens, so if I get a certain distance away, it's going to unload them, then when I get close to them, it's going to start loading it again, and that is why that's happening. Yes, on the inside here, this is our drone bay, and like I said, it is a very tiny area, so you have to be very space conscious if you make one. Continue around the side, this is our blue transparent LCD screens, which right behind that is where all of our thrusters are being kept. We'll look at that in just a second. As we were to move it around the side here, we'll see even more good use of our LCD screens in a lovely green colour, which we can see right there. Then coming around towards the back, putting on my light, we'll see even more green LCD screens and some fantastic block work making up the rear of the ship. And there we go with that. Coming down to here, there we go. So as you probably noticed, there is no thrusters whatsoever on the outside. Everything has been very neatly hidden away inside, to the point that if I come round to here, poke my face through these transparent LCD screens, what we're going to see is our hydrogen thrusters. And if it was to come around and down to here, this is past some more transparent LCD screens, but even more hydrogen thrusters, even more hydrogen tanks, and all the conveyors linking it up to make sure we can move this thing around at some nice speeds. So there we go. PS is coming out there and moving up and above the ship. We'll take a top-down look. So here we go, we'll bring the sun back around so we can get a better look at that. There we are. That is what we get looking down. We can see our lone antenna to make sure we can always find this. Some great use of the black blocks acting as stripes going along this, and of course doing the edges of the little detail. There's our hangar bay doors on the top, with one of our ready-made ships on the left hand side over there. And then towards the front where I'm standing, this is what we get. So coming down and underneath past our bridge, bring the sun all the way around once again. Let's just come down to there. So coming along the bottom, we'll see even more white and black blocks until we get to this section right here. So this is our vehicle bay where we can deploy it down to the ground to allow a vehicle to roll on and off. This has been made out of some hinges and pistons, and if it was to poke all the way up inside here, this is our little vehicle bay. There we go. And if we were to continue along the bottom, instead of having our hangar bay doors for our little fighters, what we're going to get instead is some fancy landing gear. So it's going to be these things right here. Like our vehicle bay, it's made out of some pistons and hinges, but unlike our vehicle bay, they've got some thrusters sitting behind it. So we'll deploy these out when we're in an atmosphere, and that allows us to use some additional hydrogen thrusters just in case we don't have enough to stay floating. So there's all of them sitting like that, and we will not need to use them whilst retracted, otherwise we're going to have a big hole underneath our ship. Yes, as for the rest of the ship, there we go. Then towards the back, and that is that for the outside. So it's hidden quite a lot on the inside. It's very well done with how it's all been set up. So now what we can do is take a look at all that hidden stuff on the inside. So grabbing hold of my character and walking around to here, what we can do is come across over to this section right here, where we've got ourselves a button panel next to a hangar bay door. This button panel is responsible for lifting up and down our ship on our elevator, and of course opening and closing the door. We now open that up. There we go. And when we want to have our ship come all the way down, so say it's extended like it is right now, what we can do is press this button. And now retract it all the way down to the ground to make sure we can get through that door right there. And when it's fully retracted, we can press the big red button, and that will allow us to close up the hangar bays on top. So there we go, that's now going to close up. We can walk inside here, we can press this button and close up the doors behind us, sealing us inside and allowing it to get pumped full of oxygen. So it's quite dark inside here, so that's now closed up. Putting on my light, this is one of the small ships, so like I said, we've got some rocket launchers, we've got some Gatling guns, we've got some atmospheric thrusters, so we can deploy this out on a planet. And just crouching around to here, we've got some batteries to power it, and of course a connector underneath to make sure we can dock this thing up. If we were to press this, this is basically the same as the button panel that we just used, except it's going to be on the platform so we can get raised up along with the ship. If we were to come through this doorway, what we're going to get is a airlock, number 1 airlock, and then number 2 airlock, which will bring us down to the main intersection of the ship, where the opposite side is going to take us to the other ship in its little hangar. So all the way around to here, opening that up. There is our little ion ship, where it's got some Gatling guns around it and some rocket launchers on each side. Putting my light on to get a better look at that. There we go. And of course we've got the same controls as the other side with some button panels to open and close the hangar door, lift that up and down, and to open and close that hangar door right there. And we can see a jump drive sitting right in there, so we can jump a short distance. Opening this up and coming back to that intersection that we just saw through here, all the way down. We've got a few ways where we can go. Turning around and coming through this section, this is going to be our engineering bay, where we've got absolutely everything we need to survive in survival mode. We see our industrial hydrogen tanks, we've got our industrial refinery sitting right over there, a bunch of assemblers, oxygen tanks, hydrogen engines, and hydrogen tanks. Just looking around over to this side, we see our conveyor pipes linking everything together, our hydrogen engines up and above there, some oxygen tanks with some catwalk sitting in front of it, some nice use of our shelves. Just coming around over to here, we can walk up the steps on our refinery, all the way up and above to this lovely catwalk where we can access our hydrogen engines on the side. Just looking around like so. There we are. Dropping down and coming back through here. And walking towards here, we've got a few doors on our left and right hand side. Opening up this doorway, this is going to be for our armory locker to store all of our stuff to give to our passengers, give to our crew members to gear up in case of an emergency. So we can shove some guns, some ammunitions inside here, maybe some health kits, some power packs, and all of that. On the opposite side, this is what we get. We've got some showers, and then some toilets. So opening up that, there's a shower, another shower, a toilet, and then a toilet. Just behind that, we do have an air vent, and some more great use of our catwalks, hiding up our conveyor pipes, linking everything at the back there. Coming back through here and continue along, what we're going to see is some windows to peer inside. There we go. Then walking over to this section, we then got ourselves a cryopod room, which has been once again linked up by our conveyor pipes. Then on the opposite side, opening that up, we then got our sleeping quarters. We've got some beds on the side with a ladder on the side to get up to the top beds. Then some chairs on the side to have a little rest. Opening up and continue along, what we're going to do is come to the kitchen room, which is going to be this doorway right here. So we've got a table to eat your food, some kitchen and desk blocks to cook your food, once again a air vent with a catwalk setup behind it, and an ATM just in case you can't afford the vending machine sitting right next to it. Turning around, we've got another table to eat your food or have a discussion on. Then coming through to the opposite side, we then got our medical bay with our medical bay block, a bed to put your, I was gonna say victim, but no, it's to put your patient inside, and then we've got a few little machinery around the edges. Opening up the door and continue along, we're getting to the end of the ship, where we're going to come over to our vehicle bay, which is through this doorway, double door once again, and here is the section we saw earlier. So right at the back of the room, a programmable block with whips, auto door and airlock script with its fancy little display screen on there. Turning around, we've got ourselves a rotating light, a magnetic plate which does have a piston right behind it. This is so we can lock our land vehicles in place once it's been docked up to make sure it doesn't wobble around while we're flying around through atmospheres or flying around through space. But what you should not do is deploy that and lock it to the platform here, otherwise you're going to make a very large hole through the ship. Over to here, a button panel where the big button right here is going to be for our ramp to be deployed all the way down. We get shoved forwards, and then the hinges will bend us all the way down to the ground to allow us to get a vehicle on and off very nicely. The other buttons on there is going to be for the magnetic plate up and above, so we'll rotate that all the way back up, then we can press that to reverse that, and that should drop all the way down. So here it comes, and what we're going to do is just retract that all the way back up before it has a chance to lock itself in place. So there we go, and that is that for the vehicle bay room. If we were to open up this doorway and come around through to here, this is going to lead us to our bridge, but we do have some windows on the side here at our vehicle bay, just in case you need to. So opening up that doorway, this is the bridge. We've got a lovely view all the way around the outside at our wonderful Skybox, which there will be a link to in the description below. And we've got some control seats on the side here, which don't have anything going on with it. We can just walk all the way around here. To the opposite side, we've got another empty control seat. Coming up these steps, this is going to be to our master control seat, which will be able to fly everything around. We do have a projector block protecting the ship, and a doorway right here, which is going to take us all the way up to a very sneaky area. Now, I do quite like this area. It's not really anything that you're going to be using, but it's more that you can customize this to whatever you want. So if you want to make a massive recreation area, you could do. Or maybe if you want to use more storage, more thrusters, anything you want, that can be placed in this area. There we go. So just coming out of here and flying towards the front. There we go. What we're going to do is just turn that off for the moment. That should help with the performance. And then we're going to get into this seat. In first person view, this is the view all the way around us. There we go. And then bringing up the HUD, this is what we get. So we only get 3 options, and 2 of them are for the ramps underneath. So dropping down and bringing the sun back around. There we go. Number 1 is going to be for our landing gears right at the back here. So having these deployed will allow us to press number 3 and activate our hydrogen thrusters in order to keep us off the ground while we're on the planet. So there we go with that. Pressing number 2 is going to be for our vehicle bay at the front that we just used. Now just get deployed all the way out. So there we go. Then we can track them back in, turn off those thrusters, and that is that for the controls of the Prosperity Deep Space Explorer. So what we can do now is give this thing a little fly around. So converting that to a ship and having quite a lot of clanging sounds happen thanks to our little ships docked up, and we are ready to move forwards. So you might be able to make out the thrusters just behind our LCD screens. Yes, this is the speed we get. We are quite slow, but we are more of a carrier than we are a fighter. Coming to a stop, we appear to be a lot better than moving forwards, which is very nice stuff when we're trying to come up to a station and stop in time. Moving left, and moving right, we've got some okay speed with that. Then moving down, and then moving up. Again, some okay speeds. It's not too slow, it's not the slowest thing in the world, it's not the slowest thing I've showcased on this channel, but it's definitely not the fastest thing in the world. Wiggling my mouse around, this is what we get. There's one hell of a lot of weight on here, to the point that you may want to put some more gyroscopes on here if it's not up to your standards. But for this type of ship and what it's trying to portray, I think is quite apt with the controls. So one final thing to do, of course, is to end this video with a nice slam into an asteroid, and I see the perfect candidate right up ahead. So as per usual, there will be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. I highly recommend you do, because it is a fantastic looking ship and it has a nice lot of stuff going on with it that's great for survival mode. There will also be a link to the Skybox in the description below if you are interested in that. It's very nice, it is rather dark, but you do get a planet over there and some hodgepodge sitting right there with a giant planet right behind you. And here we go, we're now approaching the asteroid at some great speeds. In 3, 2, 1. Well, that was close enough. Wow, I just got shoved through the asteroid for a second there. And at the top here, we just lost the front. So we should be able to fly this thing around quite nicely if we were to say slap on a new cockpit. Let's go and shove that on the top there. And to come across to here, we're just going to shove that down, turn that around. There we go. We should still be able to fly this thing around. Yes, we can. So if you did have a head-on collision with an asteroid and lost the complete front, you'll still be able to fly this thing around all nice and proper. So yes, thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.